So I'm Garnet Coria. I am one of the partners with AG Property Services. We're a local residential property management company here in Edmonton, and we currently manage a portfolio of about 350 units across the city and surrounding areas. So, in addition to the full management, we offer tenant placement services to self-managing landlords and owners, and that's our seat here with the Power team. So we can help fill vacancies for owners. And obviously this market, like everyone is saying, it is hot. Um, it's important to be able to determine what market you're in, the type of product that you're offering your tenants, and I kind of just want to talk to about some of the things that we're seeing in this market and how we're able to fill vacancies in this market today in Edmonton. But obviously, this can be applied across the board, I'm sure, in your markets as well. So when it comes down to advertising, the ideal listing period that we see is 45 to 60 days. Obviously, this isn't always possible depending on, if you're renovating a property and you're not sure on timelines, or, a tenant, is on a month-to-month agreement and they're just giving you 30 days notice. That might happen too. But we are always checking with our tenants upon lease renewal, usually 45 to 60 days prior. That way, we have enough time to relist that property and potentially hopefully find a new tenant for that next month on the first, so that it limits that vacancy. The importance of photos. You want quality photos taken of the property. Making sure that lights are on. Windows are all the blinds are open, and that you get some good natural light in there. And making sure you have enough photos on your ads. Those are always important as well. Even if you've got a 1-bedroom basement suite or condo, ideally I would say, you should be looking at 12 to 15 photos at a minimum for a small unit. And that includes, a picture of the front of the building, whether it's a house or a condo building, the back, whether you've got a garage, or underground parking, having those, and then your standard photos, your living, your kitchen, bedrooms, bathrooms, etc. And then obviously your larger units, single family houses or suited properties, you should be in that 20 to 30 range, I would say, for photos. And we really want to give the tenants a sense of the layout of the property, and some of the amenities as well. Of course, your write-up is important, but of course, if you don't have good photos, tenants might not even get to that write-up. So making sure that you have good photos, that kind of intrigues them, and then they're going to go down and read down in your write-up. So making sure that you're concise and you're kind of highlighting certain details about your property. So making sure if you've done any recent renovations, new windows, new furnace, maybe a new kitchen that you've put in, making sure that you're highlighting that, the makeup of the bedrooms, the bathrooms, and what the layout is like, and kind of explaining that. Location of that property, what amenities are available to the tenants, whether it's LRT, it's schools, it's shopping, what they're looking for, and also outlining the tenants' responsibilities. And what I mean by that is, if you've got a townhouse, you want to outline, lawn and snow maintenance might be something that's included in the condo fee. So that's something that might be of value to a tenant that's contemplating, a duplex versus townhouse. But of course, maybe the benefit of that townhouse is it's zero maintenance for them. Whereas in the duplex, they're going to have to shovel snow in the winter or cut the lawn, and they got to deal with, storing a lawnmower and having to cut the grass and having to deal with all that. And they might just not like that idea. Another factor for advertising, obviously, making sure that your rent price is where it needs to be. So there's a lot of factors that determine that. One is the timing of year. Is it springtime, or are you in the fall heading into winter? Making sure that it's priced according to that. What type of product are you offering them? Is this a property that has recently been renovated? Is it a new build? Or just a good average rental, but making sure that it's priced according to the product that they're offering. Again, coming back to location and what some of the amenities that are offered based on the area of that city, and having a look at comps in the area. See if you can find other listings that are comparable, whether you've got a main floor suite or other condos that are on the market for rent in that building, and being aware of that. So for us, having a vacancy contractor is beneficial, or even if you're working with a property management company, because they most likely are advertising on their personal websites, as well as using tenant-focused websites such as Rentfaster. We advertise on Rentboard, Sumper, PadMapper. We're finding Facebook Marketplace is really generating a lot of leads right now. Personally, we don't advertise on Kijiji anymore. We just find that the quality of tenants just and the prospects that are coming through there just aren't there. Often just don't respond, or they don't even show up for showings. That's kind of the norm of Kijiji. And we also place lawn signs out front, so that just helps generate extra traffic from people driving by, or maybe a neighbor or a friend or family member sees that property, they currently live in the area, and they can send it off to somebody. So that also helps us with generating traffic to our website, and they start looking at other listings that we may have available, and that just helps with lead generation. Next step in attracting tenants is the screening for tenants. So I kind of broken down this into a three-step process. So this is, you've got your ad up now, you've got some inquiries coming in, whether it's phone or email, and now what do you do with them? So for us, what we like to do is we kind of just like to narrow down, the type of people that are going to be living there. So finding out what the occupants are, or who they're going to be. If we've got a main floor suite that we're advertising and we only have a single occupant in the basement, it's probably not ideal to put a family on the main floor, because you're constantly going to have people complaining about noise, and that's just going to make your basement tenant upset. And it's very unlikely that someone like that is going to stay long term with you, right? If they're constantly hearing kids running around or screaming or crying. Confirming the possession date. This is very important, because you don't want to waste your time showing up and showing a property to them and find out, hey, they're not looking for a place until the end of summer, which is another 3 or 4 months away, and they're just trying to plan for something like that. So in a case like that, we just tell them, that property most likely won't be available at that time. We're ideally looking to fill this vacancy for May 1st or June 1st here. But check back with us, and we might have something else that you'd be interested in when you're ready. So we usually just advise them to check back 60 days before their possession date. And allowing, find out about pets. If you are open to allowing pets, just confirm, how many pets and the type of pets that would be in there. And again, because if you're in a condo or a townhouse, there's probably bylaws based on that. So the condo board might not approve something like that. Next step is you've got the tenants, who have inquired, and now it's time for you to set up a showing with them, whether it's in person or a virtual showing, just because they're moving from out of province, or they're currently just not comfortable with doing in-person viewings. So we offer this as a great solution to tenants that can't meet in person. So we'll do a WhatsApp video call or FaceTime, or even just do a video walkthrough, and we can email that to them directly. And then at this stage, I prefer face-to-face or virtual showing, so that you can ask, dive into it a little bit deeper as to, what is the reason for them actually moving? What are they looking for in another property? What are they looking for maybe in a landlord? Maybe they're leaving a situation where they just, had a dispute with the basement tenants, or, they just don't like the landlord. And, that will kind of give you a little bit of insight potentially into the type of person, and learning a little bit more about their situation. Generally ask them what they do for a living, or their source of income, if they're students, or what they do for work. And then again, when you want to touch on confirming when they plan on moving. So making sure, if they're in a month-to-month tenancy, are they shopping right now and plan on giving notice at the end of this month for, to move in for June 1st, or are they in a fixed term and they're free to move at the end of this month? And, ideally you could have them move in for May 1st. So that's another great thing to confirm with them in person. And then again, once you're done that showing, you're probably going to coordinate sending out a rental application if they're interested. And that application is just going to reinforce your gut feeling about them. You've kind of narrowed down your tenant profile at the initial meeting with them via phone and email. You've met them in person or virtually, and you've kind of got a sense of them. And now, the rental application is just going to reinforce that. So types of things to look for, obviously, is personal information. You want open lines of communication. So, you should have phones and emails, emergency contacts on there, just in case of anything happens. For us, we normally like to have at least two leaseholders on a lease. But of course, for smaller one-bedroom units, that might not be required, whether it's a basement or a condo. And then getting picture ID, that's very important, because on the picture ID, you'll have the date of birth or social, and also requesting the social insurance number, which can also be important. The reason being, if you do have an issue with the tenant, let's say they vacate without notice, or they're behind on rent and they end up just leaving or damage the place, you'd be able to list that with a collection agency. So we work with one here in Edmonton. We do help a lot of distressed landlords where they've been self-managing. They get one bad tenant and they need help with the eviction process. So we kind of help them go through the eviction, and then eventually listing it with the collection agency. So the collection agency will use that date of birth or social insurance number to line it up with the person and what is owing, and then it gets reported to Equifax and TransUnion, which are the two credit bureaus here in Canada. And then again, they're also going to know what their source of income is on that application. So it's important just to validate that. Get a pay stub, get an employment letter, or some sort of direct deposit that's proof that that's gone into their bank account, and as well as looking at their rental history. So you want their current and previous landlord, and that also will tell you a little bit about them and their situation, because you can see how long maybe they rented their previous property for, and how long they've rented maybe at their current residence. And that might determine, if you see that, they are constantly moving every year, that might not be the ideal tenant for you if you're looking for, a long-term tenant. But again, that might just be one of the things that you're looking at. So tips for filling vacancies. So again, we're in a very competitive market right now. The number one thing is just be available for daytime, evening, and weekend showings. Just like a lot of these realtors have mentioned, it's so hot right now. If you're not available to show your property to these tenants, like, they're going to go elsewhere. They're probably inquiring with another 5 or 10 other properties, and they're trying to line things up on a weekend or maybe an evening after work and trying to look at 3 or 4 places. And if you miss that day that they're able to meet, you might just miss out on a great tenant. Also, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, have that option for virtual showings or create a video, so that if you can't meet with them right away, say, hey, I've got a video tour I can send you, and then we can set up maybe another day in a couple of days if you think it's worth looking at, and you like what you see. We can set up another in-person showing, and hopefully we can work something out. Another tip for filling vacancies is allowing pets. It's a bigger pool of tenants now. It's so tough in this market to find. So many families have pets nowadays, whether it's a cat, a dog, a fish. And obviously the other benefit of that is you benefit from having that extra income each month. So for us, we normally charge $25 for cats and $50 a month for dogs as a pet fee. So we use that terminology in our lease as a pet fee. So that's in addition to the rent. So lease amount's $1,500. We're charging $1,550 as the lease amount for the length of that term, and it's not a pet deposit, because pet deposit would mean it would be refundable to the tenant at the end of that term. So their damage deposit, you'd still have a damage deposit of $1,500, and then you would also have the monthly pet fee of $50. So your lease amount is $1,550. And the price is determined by the rental market sensitivity. So right now, what we're seeing, obviously, a lot of people that are looking to make that jump and get into their next property, maybe their first rental property. We're seeing a lot of people that are wanting to get out of their condos and maybe upgrade from their current townhouse or duplex into a single family house. And they're looking to rent their current residence or maybe turn it into a rental. So what's really important is just understanding the difference between what your costs are and what the market rents are. Just because your costs on your 1 or 2 bedroom condo are $1,500 a month, your building or your area might not actually, might not be in line with that, right? Your rents might only be $1,300. So for you to price yourself at $1,500, you just price yourself out of the market, and tenants, won't even look at you, because they might be able to go get maybe a newer condo, something bigger, or just something in the building, but it's $200 cheaper. And tenants are really sensitive to that right now. Like, they're looking, they're shopping around. They know what the market rents are right now. So if you're priced out $250 outside the market, you're probably not going to get much action. Or you will get some showings, but you just won't get applications. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. Lots of people coming through the doors, and as we're getting feedback, that's always a good thing to do. Obviously, is get some feedback after your showings, but we're having to adjust the rents sometimes dependent on what the feedback is like and the traffic from the advertising that we're getting. So the last slide I mentioned, the rent is determined by the market, but the value is determined by the landlord. So what that means is, what kind of systems and what type of landlord are you going to be for these tenants, because they're going to test that dollar amount to the value that you as the landlord are going to be providing them, right? So what kind of processes do you have in place? Are you, for rent collection, are you doing it by e-transfer for checks, or are they wanting to pay you by cash? So discussing that during the showings is obviously a good thing. chatting about, maintenance requests. How do they deal with that? If you're the type of landlord that is a little bit more hands-on, and you're going to be actually going into these properties and doing the repairs, what your turnaround times are and response times for that, or do you work with a team? Have you got a handyman, an electrician, a plumber, or appliance tech that you work with, and just confirming and letting them know, hey, if you have these requests, please let us know, and we'll send somebody out to have a look at it. And that's what tenants are looking for, is making sure that they're going to be dealing with a landlord or a management company that's going to be responsive and that wants to look after them. And then of course during showings, to ensure you're getting top dollar, you want to have a clean property that has curb appeal. So wintertime, making sure that those walks are shoveled when they show up. They're not tracking through the snow in shoes, and their shoes are filling with snow. The grass is cut in the summertime. There's not leaves everywhere. Things are well taken care of. And then once the tenants enter the property, are the walls and floors, in decent condition? Are they clean? Tenants don't do crumbs or hair at the bottom of their socks when they leave. Making sure that there's blinds that are on windows and they're not damaged. That's the biggest thing that I see when I go through some properties with owners and just before listing. Those are the most common things. It's just the cleanliness and just minor things that need to be fixed. Because again, tenants are very sensitive, and they know when they walk in, especially into a vacant property. They're looking at everything. So if something is off, they're going to notice it, right? So just making sure, again, appliances, bathrooms, the backyard's well maintained. Garage overhead doors are working. And again, it comes down to maintenance of just the property in general, making sure your windows are working, screens aren't ripped. There's no plumbing leaks or light bulbs that are burnt out. Just little things like that will just give the sense to the tenants that you're a landlord that takes pride in their property and that you take care of the property as well, right? And lastly, most important is just building trust with the tenants. So obviously with that, you'll have a higher likelihood of long-term tenancies if you build that trust with them. The tenants are going to be quicker to report maintenance issues if they know that you're the type of landlord that's going to take care of them. We find with landlords that come to us, they've been self-managing for years, and now they're looking for help at finding the tenants, or looking for help with tenant placement. We'll go in and do a move out inspection, and we notice all these things that are wrong with the property, and we ask the tenants, well, how long has it been like this, or has this been reported? And they say, oh yeah, no, we did report it, just the landlord never came out, or they fixed it and then it wasn't fixed properly and it started leaking again. We just didn't bother reporting it because we just we didn't think anything was going to happen, right? So then of course some damage, let's say it's underneath the kitchen sink, and now the whole cabinet, the base of the cabinet now is ruined because the tenants just don't want to bother reporting it because the landlord's not going to fix it anyway, so why do they care, right? And then building trust again when it comes down to, even with rent payments, like James had mentioned, it's important to get, have that monthly cash flow that's on time. You've got mortgage payments to make, so if you've got trust built with your tenants, they're going to be quick to let you know if there's an issue. Middle of the month, we tell all of our tenants, if you're having issues with rent, just be proactive, contact us. Don't wait till a day before rent is due or 2 days before. We've got a lot of moving pieces to deal with as well, contacting the owners of the property, and they've got to obviously deal with shuffling money around as well if rent's going to be late. And then if we need to, we'll set up some sort of payment arrangements. We have a schedule as to when rent is going to be coming in, when the owners can expect it to be in their account. And of course, with that trust, you're going to have tenants that like you as a landlord, they want to live in your property, they like being there. So less vacancies is more money. So again, just want to reiterate, just the importance in this market right now of just understanding the product that you're offering to tenants, making sure that you're priced properly in the market that you're in. Just a quick little real life, I guess, property that we were dealing with just last week. So the owner, if you guys are familiar with Edmonton market, so Kensington, it's in the northwest quadrant of Edmonton. It's a good solid family-friendly area. An investor who just had renovated the property, and it was a main floor and a basement suite that was available For rents, so we're getting great rents. We're seeing rents, depending on the area you're in, you might see 20 or 30% decreases in your condos, but some of the suite properties we're seeing 20 or 30% increases right now. So in Kensington, they're a great example of that. We just rented last week a main floor unit for $1,850, which includes utilities, and the basement suite was for $1,275. So this owner, is getting over $3,100 a month right now in rental income. And another comparable property in Kensington is that we had was a main floor basement suite that was renovated maybe say 7 or 8 years ago, right? So it's starting to show, a little bit of its age. It could probably use a paint job and a few things like that. But that same unit we had just rented as well at the same time, rented for about $300 less, just because of the size. This new property, was renovated, open for concept, and tenants are willing to pay a premium right now for the right product, right? So you just need to be aware of the product that you're offering your tenants and making sure that you're priced based on the market. You're not priced outside the market. So if you guys have any questions, my contact info is here, and we'd love to be in touch with you and possibly help you with filling your next vacancy.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Garnet. That was just a very dense, action-packed presentation with a lot to learn and a lot to know. So luckily we recorded the whole thing, so we'll be sending you guys out the link so you can watch it again. When the presentation is out full of great information, obviously it comes fast. So I hope some of you guys were taking notes. And Garnet, if you can just stay on, keep your eye on the chat window, because I think people are going to be asking a lot of questions in the chat. So while we head on to the next topic, we'll be getting you going in the chat. So thank you so much. And yeah, if you guys want to get some vacancies filled, he's your guy.